Welcome to the Dose of Soulful Health with Irina podcast, a place dedicated to empowering women that are embracing their soul wisdom, creating abundance for their families, and discovering more about themselves along the way. I'm Irina, your host, and I'm thrilled to create this sacred space where authenticity, connection, and personal growth bloom. Join us as we share inspiring stories, practical tips, and heartfelt conversations with women who are walking this path. Welcome to your tribe. Oh, episode 1, not having all your shit together. I really wanted to start this podcast off with a shebang. As most women in business, we really want to be on fire. We want to be able to really deliver a great service. But honestly, over the last week and a half, possibly 2 weeks, I have been moving through the imposter syndrome stage. And imposter syndrome shows up for me as feelings of being a fraud, doubting my abilities, and I'm very much hampered by thought about the services that I provide, whether they are good enough, and also these sneaky little threads of what if this all fails? So rather than actually moving toward that and through that, what I have been doing is running around like a madwoman, completing other tasks that were a lot more important. I have been avoiding being able to set myself up for success. And I have been absolutely beating myself up for not having it done already. And I am pretty sure that the women that join this tribe are all about showing up with authenticity, with being real, and actually exploring what does this mean? And how can I actually get the frick over this so I can do what I have been called here to do, what I have felt in my heart as a purpose, as the passion, as the medicine that I am to bring into the world. And it's really, really interesting because, to be honest, I have not had a lot of imposter syndrome. I have really beat it down with a lot of aligned action. And it's really interesting to be in this space for quite a long period. Well, I feel like it's a long period. So if you know me and you have been following me for a while, you'll know that I generate quite a lot of content. My premise for myself and what I tell myself quite regularly is that showing up is the bare minimum for the woman that I am to serve, for the people that I am here to help, for the families that will be witnessing my journey. Showing up to me is the bare minimum. So even though I have been moving through the imposter syndrome, feeling like a fraud, wondering if I've got all of the capabilities to get through this, I have been showing up regardless in different ways, sometimes with rehashed content. Sometimes I've already hashed out all of the posts that I'm going to put out for the week ahead. And I usually create batches when I feel really good. When I feel really positive, I will batch them out and I will get them done. I've learned along the way that there are many different tools that you can harness to really support you moving through a lot of ease. So, what is this all about? Why am I going through this? Why am I being tripped up by the imposter syndrome? Well, it all started when I started to create this incredible event, by the way, about women learning a specific model to help them to attract and create healthy relationships. When I created that event, I was completely in flow. Everything just felt as though it had a place. There was room, it was inviting, it had clear and yet profound teachings. I knew exactly the woman that would benefit from this workshop. And I also was very excited because it was hot. It was hot and it was ready to rock and roll. And before I released it out to the public, I contacted the people that had previously worked with me, that had been in contact with me, that had come to my workshops previously, that had a genuine rapport with me. And I approached them and I said, hey, this is freaking incredible. You need to jump on this and buy this ticket today. And I made a few sales, and that was great. And I did something that I don't usually do. It's one of my boundaries, and it's there for a reason because I've been in business long enough to know that what I did, I should not have done. And I know, whatever, should, low vibrational imprint, but it's important that we're real here. You know, that these are things that I'm not going to shy away from. This is actually a beautiful lesson for me. And I'm sure it's a lesson for other women that are creating abundance for their families as well, and that are creating sustainable business practices so that they can actually have a freaking service that they can have for years and years if that is their wish. So what I did was I reached out to a certain individual and I spoke to them about the benefits of coming to this workshop. And I clearly stated that this was perfect for them. I love to sell to people when it's perfect for them because it's just an invitation and you put it out on a platter and they're like, oh my gosh, that looks delicious. I'm going to have some. So I put it out on a platter and I said, hey, look, I've seen this pattern occurring in your life. You have a strong resonance with me, and I believe that this is the one for you. I'm going to offer you this at this price, and I'm going to throw in a little bit of a taster so that you can really enjoy the benefits of working with me. It was like everything was a yes, everything was a yes, 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 until it came to the payment. This is something that I want you to listen to close to. So she said, yes, yes, it sounds incredible. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm going to book in. Is it okay if I pay you in a fortnight? Now, newbie startup entrepreneurs, they might be like, you know what, that's fine. I have, a connection with you. I know you. I can see what you're doing online, the business that you have, all of those kinds of things. I'm actually going to let that be okay. But for me, I've been in business for, around 5 years now, especially with workshops and events. And I know that is one of the things that I always, always, always do, is I always get a deposit. And at this stage, I was so happy and excited about these other sales that I had made that I went ahead and said, you know what, that's fine. I'll contact you in a couple of weeks. And then a couple of weeks rolled on. And can you see where the story's going? And then I had this message. I'm not in these, not verbatim, by the way, but along the lines of basically, I've had a few financial hurdles this month, and I'm unsure if I can follow through on the booking that I made for your workshop. And that's when the spiral started to happen. Oh, well, it was all a yes. What's happened in that time frame? I started to get different messages from people that had already paid, going, oh, I'm not sure if I'm coming. And that really started to knock around my confidence in the event itself. the venue's already paid for. Everything's paid for. The bare minimum has been paid for. And I haven't even released it to the public yet. So it's not like I'm in dire straits. I'm absolutely A-okay. But the worst time to sell something is when you're out of certainty and you have strayed away from the conviction of the medicine that you are there to put forth through that vehicle, and that vehicle is my business and the events that I hold and the sessions that I provide. So these niggling thoughts started coming through about, oh, perhaps I'm not going to get the numbers that I have as set as my goal. Maybe the event that I thought was freaking incredible is not as good as it once was. Maybe it's going to be a big fat flop, and maybe I'm going to fail. And underneath all of that, there was maybe I'm just not good enough. And before I started this beautiful podcast, I actually had a look to see how often this occurs with a female businesswoman. And I found this statistic: 75% of women executives experience imposter syndrome in the workplace. It is hard for them to feel comfortable with who they are and see their worth. They tend to work long hours to try and prove themselves, afraid to ask questions, ask for help, and avoid speaking up and asking for help in challenging situations. They have more stress, more anxiety, they burn out more often, and their self-talk is so negative that it impairs them. They start to doubt their abilities continuously, feeling inadequate and like they are a fraud. They start to compare themselves to others that are seemingly having this easy, the easy capacity to just move from one task to another with ease. And usually imposter syndrome affects those that are brightest in the workplace. Well, that's a big plus, isn't it? So that's from Forbes, if you are looking for that information. It's pretty easy to find on the World Wide Web. But what I want to get back to is that people often talk about the way that they have moved through imposter syndrome after the fact. But you know what I've really noticed is as I have been exploring what this really means for me and the context of my life right now and the way that these different thoughts have been circling around and taking up a lot of space is actually that this is really a stepping stone and a big stepping stone through the next phase of my next evolution in business and within my soulful identity. And if I had known way back when I first started that imposter syndrome is, basically the the next award on the way to breaking through into your next level of income, your next level of impact, your next level of certainty, I would have signed up sooner. So I'm going to be letting you know the ways that I have been moving through imposter syndrome, some with avoidance and also with moving and exploring what this really means to me right now and giving it a bit more of a questioning and really starting to fill in a little bit more of the details around why this is coming up for me right now. If you haven't met me already, I run a couple of businesses and I've also just been through a really big challenge in my life, and that loop has now closed. And now there is less stress and there's more space to receive. And when you get into these beautiful, beautiful positions, you have more capacity in your mind and in your body and your nervous system for that space to be filled with goodness, with wealth, with amazing new connections, with resources, but also a not so great way, it can also be filled up with trepidation, anxiety, searching for more stress, feelings as though this is not okay to now be in not a high level of got to get things done. So I enjoy journaling. Journaling is just something that has always helped me to really process what is happening within me. Every morning I have been getting up and I free write, it's called morning pages. For 30 minutes or so, I write 3 A4 pages of stream of consciousness, everything that is going on in my mind. I will put it down on paper without analyzing it, without editing it, without wondering what it's going to turn into. Sometimes it's just absolute rubbish, and sometimes there's freaking golden nuggets in there that moves on to create incredibly valuable content or plans or projects or the next stage. And I do this every morning to help me to actually explore why these thoughts are coming up and what does it mean for me as I move through them. I'm not one to just try and get over it. I am someone that really enjoys moving through and discovering these darker aspects of self and being okay that I'm not okay. Then I have also been creating a lot more strategic tasks to create this event to be more public so that there is accountability for me showing up in support of it as I move through the imposter syndrome. And this might sound really strange, but for me, having that accountability of this event is happening and I put it everywhere. I put it on my Facebook covers, I put it on my pages, I shout it out to the world. And what that does is it ignites in me these different steps that I need to take to be able to reverse engineer what do I need to have this event done. So I always change in some way, create an event, I create a cover page, and I create public awareness that this event is on. And I tell myself I can do hard things. Once I have that, that to me is the bare minimum, showing up is the bare minimum. The next step is the most vital. Now, I have a lot of different strategies. I have a lot of different modalities. I have a lot of different skill sets, and I have a lot of different awareness around the things that help me to get things done. But what I don't have is a way to move through this by myself. So the last and the vital step that I have taken is that I've actually reached out for help. I'm going to get help to let me reframe the way that my mind has fixated on this event being the be all and end all of all events. I'm going to get help from a trusted mentor around what it is that's keeping me stuck. And I know that at the end of today, I'm going to have a lot more clarity. I'm going to have a lot more action steps, and I'm going to have a lot more peace within me because I haven't had to do it on my own. And that's really is the way that I want to wrap this up, is that if you have had these experiences of imposter syndrome, I want you to keep listening because not having all your shit together is truly a very powerful platform to launch into your next level of wealth, impact, and service.
Congratulations, you have had a dose of soulful health. And if you have been nodding, relating, and soaking it up with curiosity, joy, and connection, hit subscribe so you can tune in for your weekly dose. Together, we can thrive with vitality and purpose. Want more information about working with me for soul confidence, mental health, and emotional well-being so that you can balance health, wealth, and family with ease? Then message me, Soulful Health with Erina.